Hey YouTube, what's up? I am changing my life some more. I just got back from a run, but I couldn't wait to record this and get on with my life, get on with the things I've been waiting to do. I'm not kidding. I just decided that it's a beautiful day, and I've lost all the weight, and my ankle has healed. I've been to a chiropractor. They said that everything's looking good. Yeah, really, it's really me. I'm jogging home. I'm jogging home. A walk that was supposed to take an hour and 10 minutes. After being the first person in the door, dropping my car off at the auto glass place this morning for a crack that I haven't replaced in months. On the way there, because I always seem to need to use the bathroom a couple times in the morning. I just decided to stop and use the bathroom at the 7-Eleven. And even though I did, I was still the first guy in the door. And as a result, I was like, yeah, I am gonna jog home. Gonna be about 30, looks like I'm gonna get running, maybe 35 minutes only. Probably about 40 minutes. So, yeah, feels good. Yeah. Oh, that's right. There's my house up there, that apartment building. If you see, I don't know. You know what? It's a sad pedestrian detour before, but like I can probably just get around it. A good thing to watch carefully for road signs in your life, man. Specifically very, very clear ones. Your ego. Let that shit go. Your ego disguises itself as confidence, growth, or truth. But ultimately, your ego is like, I'll probably be fine. I'll just ignore that sign. I'll ignore just what the thing that I should do or what the people say or da-da-da-da-da. So, listen to the signs that you see in your life, especially when it's a pedestrian detour, and don't be a dumb idiot. Yeah. Ooh, puddle. Yeah. Puddle. My anxiety through COVID has slowly but surely gotten out of control. It was bad for years though, and that's the thing that I never faced. I've looked at all the symptoms. Why is it I have a hard time with perfectionism? Why do I have a hard time, finishing videos? Or why do I have a hard time, why do I overthink situations? There are times when it's useful. It's really good being like a goalie because you sit there watching the whole field or, the whole rink, and you start to anticipate the moves and you start to sort of see just a couple steps into the future. But when you're dealing with other people, when you're dealing with your career, when you're dealing with art, sometimes those things are helpful, but a lot of the time you need to just live in the present. I've been wanting to just run, literally and metaphorically, in my career, in relationships, just going on more hikes, doing the things, but there's always been this fear that I'm not good enough or that I won't be able to do it. There were so many times where it's like, I didn't love myself enough to lose the weight. I did that, but it was still a symptom of this feeling I have inside that I'm not enough. A toxic shame, a fear of embracing my masculinity as a positive in a world where there's a lot of confusion about what it is to be a man, perhaps. Toxic masculinity, no good. But having shame about just embracing my strength and what I can do in the world, trusting myself, my voice, my creativity, all of it. And I'm not perfectly better, but I never had panic attacks. It was just always this low-level, buzzing kind of background feeling. And when I was happy, when I was like, eating candy, playing video games, having sex, all these things were real and were good and fun feelings, but they're all just band-aids for just feeling well all the time. And I think as far back as to maybe one of my first romantic relationships in high school. But even before that, I've always had this attachment. What is described in this book that's really helped me, called No More Mr. Nice Guy. There it is. It's by Dr. Robert A. Glover. It's like an older book, and this is like a reprint. It's been very popular and selling. And he also has a guide about relationships for men. This is definitely a book from the male perspective, but not because I should be an asshole. So guys like me have always thought, like, I'm good, and if I try hard, I'll have a life that's problem-free, and love will just come to me. You know, a white cis male with, you know, family support and things, like, I have enough. Why should I push harder? I should be happy with what I have, and you should be grateful for what you have. But it was also holding me back. Instead of going into the world and going after what I want aggressively, where I have done at times, I have busted my ass. I've filmed over 300 weddings. I have had a decade-long career. I've worked with great brands. I've worked with, you know, I've worked with the Canadian women's soccer team. I've worked with banks. I've worked with car companies. Photographed events with over 1,000 guests. I've done things that I am very proud of. I've created art that resonates with people. I lost 100 pounds in a year, though I put back on 20 because it was really hard coming into 2021 and feeling sad about looking at the future and not knowing if we were actually going to beat this COVID, or if there'd be an industry to go back to where I could build my brand and be excited about it. At the end of the day, I need a shower, and we'll talk a bit more. Small update from just before. Had the shower, feeling good, feeling fresh, gotta stay cool. Deal with the fact that I live in a one-bedroom apartment with east-facing windows, which means that I get the morning sun. It gets hot as hell in here, but that's okay. Drink water. I brought it up before. Get whatever works for you. I love this with a straw. Oh, I put it upside down. This little thing is here so that it doesn't, like, if you pull it up and down, it doesn't go through the bottom. A lot of the tools that I got in terms of self-evaluation, in terms of diet, in terms of understanding, I really had to learn. Like, you know about what a healthy diet is, you know how sugar affects you, but don't really realize like how much sugar is in ketchup or how little water I was drinking before. When I'm feeling really healthy, I feel like I'm drinking so much water and then I keep feeling healthy, and when I'm not, I don't. Shout out again to Polo Health and Longevity Clinic and Dr. Alana Polo over in New Westminster near Vancouver where I live. If you go and look at the end of the video, there'll be a link to how I lost 100 pounds in the year. Now, I've put back on about 20 of those pounds this year, but I'm okay with that because that still is 80 pounds down and I'm feeling good. I ran today. I know that this maybe seem like the craziest, biggest deal, but for me it is. I mean, I chose to run home, you know, which could have taken an hour and so out of my day, but I just wanted to do something. It's sunny, it's the morning, it's the good time of the day to get going, and it felt great. Cheers to that. Ugh, so adequate, but very cold. With the COVID pandemic, there's been a huge slowdown in production, manufacturing, shipping. Apparently there's just not that much auto glass around compared to what there usually is, so by the time I got home, and just as I was coming out of the shower, I got a call that in fact the 11 o'clock delivery wasn't gonna come, and even though I ran home, my car is just sitting there, so I gotta get a taxi right after this, go grab it, because I don't want to run back. But it'll be there Friday, and this crack that I've been putting out for months in my windshield will be solved, and that's great. I'm getting it done. Talking about getting it done, I can't recommend this book enough. No More Mr. Nice Guy. I want to talk about this some more because I am a recovering nice guy. I'm still kind. I'm still gonna go out there and abundantly love in the world, create work that I think really matters to people on special days, special occasions, create art that excites me. That's everything that I want to do, but I'm gonna start valuing myself for the same way that I value myself at weddings. I think a lot of my work and creative work I've undervalued because it's like, oh, well, it's just me, it's just my ideas, and even though people want to work with me, I've always put it out there just as a freebie, but I actually have a lot to offer. And that's exciting. It also means that I can go after the things I'm really excited about with people I like to work with. And people I'm excited to work with. New people, old friends, that kind of thing. Value yourself. Find your self-worth. Let's talk about my anxiety. Voila. Battery changed. My anxiety has a lot of symptoms and things that I was really good at coping with. I think I put myself out there into the world as a very friendly, outgoing, smiling guy. But over the years, for all of these years, my whole 35 years, I have been dealing with some amount of anxiety. There have been times in my life where I'm very happy and it doesn't seem to be present. Like when I've got a camera in my hands and I'm working, I feel like I got really good at that. And with no outlet for the amount of volume of work I was used to, COVID really started to meddle with my brain and turn my anxiety up. Now you can look at that as a disadvantage and a sad thing to have affected me, my career, the anxiety specifically. Obviously the COVID pandemic has been astronomically affecting to many people in many ways, not the least of which is with no work and no way to distract me, I fell into weight loss, and that was great. I needed to find a way to be healthy again and start to take care of myself and value my body, understand my diet, understand what I'm putting into myself and how that affects me. I've dealt with like an irritable bowel from time to time. I get affected by the foods I eat, and it was affecting my life because I was eating like crap. I do get anxiety, and that affects how I feel in a very physical way. I'm very connected to my body. So some of the things that were the hardest to deal with, well, actually right at the top, let's just jump into it. If you or someone you know seems like they're overly nice, they give, but then they sometimes are prone to outbursts because they, you know, don't ever really ask for what they want, or they seem like they really give gracefully or that kind of thing, but gracefully, but mostly graciously. Consider pointing them towards this book. It was recommended by a guy that I'm so grateful to have known and know, and had filmed one of my favorite short films back in film school as a camera operator. My friend Jordan Gray, who is now a consultant and is working and coaching people, writing books, self-help, and Know Where Mr. Nice Guy is probably the biggest difference maker that I've experienced, because the core of all of my issues with my business, with relationships, with everything, just with how I think of myself and how I interact with the world and my existence, is because I'm a recovering nice guy. I mean, that's a way to put it, but I like it. It works for me, and I think thinking about that helps me remind me that I'm recovering and that I do have places that I still need work. Go check out Jordan. He's got a lot of value, energy, advice, tips in all aspects of life just on his Instagram. You can find him all over. You can find his books on Amazon. So just a shout out to that guy. Jordan was my guy as a camera operator when I was a director of photography on the biggest shot that I ever pulled off, with I think 5 different camera angles and a crane, all these things. If I hadn't known Jordan Gray, I might not have been so quick to get to this book. Then I started to look at the other things that he suggests that are great reads and have been suggested by other photographers and people who know me and really, I think, want me to succeed. So some of these other books, just really quickly. Rewire Your Anxious Brain, that's an excellent one. Atomic Habits, loving that, and habit stacking and just trying to build good aspects of your day and routine, because some people, especially if you deal with anxiety, it's crazy to think that people don't. It's crazy to think that people's brains aren't just like constantly running and ruminating and going and overthinking and worrying about every possibility, approaching conversations with clients or friends and trying to just anticipate each of the things, all of the pitfalls that I might have as we're talking together. To think that people just like live and breathe consciously in the present and that they're not always carrying this energy in them is actually really exciting. Having just been a few weeks now since the filming of this video, I've really been able to slow down and breathe. I've still had anxious moments. I've still been triggered by some things that have been unfortunate and affected me, and I was disappointed in myself. And then I remembered, oh no, you're recovering. You know, it's okay. What's another one? Oh yeah, also, The War of Art. Shout out to a great photographer, Ryan, who is coming up and doing great things. He's a videographer as well, and I enjoy working with him. He recommended The War of Art to me, and I should have started reading it when he did. I think Jordan also probably recommends it. A follow-up to The War of Art is called Turning Pro, and I think that's great too. There's a follow-up to, yeah, Dr. Glover's book here called Dating Essentials, and I think I'm probably going to just see what else, if there's anything else that Glover has written, I'll probably get it. I never thought self-help was for me. I always thought, I'm good. I'm a good man. I work hard. I'm kind to people. I'm generous. I give. My life should be simple. It should be straightforward. Things should just come to me. But the problem is when you're not thinking about it in quite the right direction, you start to expect those things to come from you, and then you start to, still trying hard to like live the way you were living, you start to push back against the outside world because you start to have resentment. You start to feel entitled, like I have given so much to friends, colleagues, women, you know, family, and you start to be like, why aren't they knowing, one, the thing that I'm not asking for or expressing to them that I want or need, but like, why aren't they just like giving me? Why aren't they making my life better? Because I'm so good and so kind, and I'm never a problem. You know, I'll be out with people, but if I realize that there's like some political bent or something, maybe I'll just stay out of it, because if I'm trying to seek their approval so desperately, I will just keep myself small. In relationships as well, if I've come up against conflict, it's always like, keep yourself small. Rather than fighting for the love or respect or the friendship or the job that you want or that you dream for, just... It's a lot of revelations. If you're out there and any of this is resonating with you, if you have any amount of anxiety, whether it ruminates in your brain and keeps you up at night and causes insomnia, which then like creates more tiredness and more stress and more anxiety, or you are having problems with avoidance, just like if you're self-employed or even at work and you have a really hard time doing something you know you're good at or that you have enjoyed, something that you definitely are capable of and will further your goals, whether they are just like getting rent together or whether it's saving some money, whether you want to buy something nice for yourself or repairs or renovations, you want to go on a trip, but you will always find that, and again, you're a man or a woman who never really achieved the greatness is maybe the wrong word, never reached your potential. You have at times let yourself go and fallen into a job or a task or a relationship and really shown off your abilities, your creative strength, your competence, and you've exceeded people's expectations. When I finished film school, I had a degree, I lived a crazy year in Australia, I had awesome experiences with good friends, I needed a job. I have had some blue-collar influence from a father who has always expressed, like, you have to take the step in front of you. And it's so simple, but you just have to break down. You can't look at the end. You can have a goal, but you really have to focus just in the present. Just do the next step on the ladder, and you can achieve something that will make you feel at peace. You may not always reach all of your goals, especially the big and lofty ones, but every step that you take along the way is taking you towards something. So I got into a job at Staples when I got out of film school, just because it was the right thing to get a job. I wasn't getting bites on quite the types of jobs I wanted to in film. There was a big lull in film. I don't remember if you remember back at Save BC Film, that was impending. I got a job at Staples and excelled there. And I'd never sold printers, and I didn't really know retail, but it's just because I do have capabilities. They liked me as an employee. I had some sales that had the most attachments for a month, and I was only there for 3 months, but I really enjoyed it because of my natural ability and my desire to work hard. Then I got a job that I really enjoyed and served me very well for many years at a South Asian Indian wedding video company. I started at that company when it was small, just a few people, and there were big hopes and dreams and things, and I learned so much there over the years, and I love the South Asian culture, specifically Sikh weddings and the Punjabi people that have really made a home here in the Lower Mainland. I believe, if not the largest, one of the largest populations of Indian people outside of India, maybe in the world. I learned so much just in my backyard, and I was there though for what ended up being too long because I didn't believe that I could leave that job. I had gotten married, I believed I needed to support my wife, I busted my butt. There was a year where I did 44 weddings, 44 Indian weddings in a year, plus multiple events every week. If you know anything about big Indian weddings, you know that there are days and days and days of pre-wedding events, parties late into the night, and then an early morning at the wedding at 6 or 7 a.m., starting going for the whole day, and a reception often the next day for another 6 hours. So there were times where I was working and capable of working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. But then it was too much, and I started to not create my own boundaries. I found the workplace I was in to be toxic for me, or at least the fact that I couldn't affect the change that I wanted with my employer, even though he had his own goals and things, and he was, I think, fundamentally achieving them. It was time for me to move on, and for the same reasons in this book, my desire for approval, never be a problem, all these kind of things, I could never do it, and I didn't really stand up for what I needed in my relationship. Why? There have been so many points in my life where I haven't achieved exactly what I wanted, or not even exactly what I wanted, but just like something close to what I think is my peak potential. So, I don't want to go on too much longer about this. There's probably more to talk about. Understanding that I have now experienced, you know, physical panic attacks, maybe 3 or 4 or 4 or 5 real physical, unmanageable experiences, and then many small bouts of like pretty serious anxiety that I just think I got used to coping with. Coping will disguise itself as growth. That's something that was hard to learn, because just because you're able to maintain or be resilient, if you're not really healing or you're not working on yourself, you'll ultimately just end up hurting the people that you care about the most. Being a nice guy often turns out not being very nice at all, because I'm not sure exactly what comes next. There's a lot of things I want to do in this space on YouTube. Probably things with video games. I want to share my love of pop culture. I want to give you some helpful advice and things if you're a content creator and there's things that I can share from my experience. I want to put out into the world the things that inspire me, entertain me, what I'm working on or what I'm going through. Anything to, I don't know, feel like if I can make someone's day a little bit better, you know, that's a good thing. So, I'm here for you. I hope that you'll come back and be here for me and share in some of the great things that I love, and we'll see you soon.